Alright, what's happening everybody? Welcome back to your Valorant. My name is Matt and it's a pleasure to be with you all today on the channel again. So I wanted to talk with you guys about the weapon buy menu which we currently know about. We currently know the entire weapons list leaked in Valorant. Now of course tomorrow March 2nd, if you guys are watching this after a later date, March 2nd of course will be the day when we get a ton more info. But I did want to talk about something that happened earlier today which I still think has been a little bit underreported in regards to the overall weapons list, which we actually have images of from in-game. So I want to talk to you guys about that today, of course. I'm going to put it on screen for you all so you guys have an idea exactly what I'm talking about. Credit to @ValorantNews on Twitter for finding this. I think they were the first people to tweet this out. So let's get right into it, guys. We have a lot to talk about here. A lot to talk about in regards as well to the in-game meta, of course, how this is actually going to affect in-game processes and things like that. So let's get right into it. Without further ado, let's start. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the sidearms you guys can see on screen. The one on the far left, there's a few watermarks here which cover up a couple of the names. But the first one is called Class. I think it's just called Class. That seems to be the standard one at least, sort of like the Glock 18 if you were to say equivalent of this game. The one next is Shorty, which seems to be almost shotgun-like in nature, and that is for 200 credits or currency, whatever you want to call it. Below that we have the Frenzy. Looks like a Tech 9. I mean, again, I'm going to be making a lot of CSGO equivalents because this is really strikingly similar to CSGO. I know we've been talking about this a lot on the channel recently, but you know, having a game that is very similar to Counter-Strike isn't necessarily a bad thing. It just shows you how much of a really strong community there is for a sort of Counter-Strike Global Offensive 2.0 because the game, as we mentioned in one of our previous videos, has been, you know, extremely popular recently. Just hit its all-time peak a couple of days ago, which is incredible since the game is 8 years old. So what we're looking at here is a game which is strongly emulating Counter-Strike Global Offensive, and honestly, man, I'm not complaining. I'm really not. I mean, there's definitely a bigger market for this, so that's why I'm making those equivalencies in this video. I hope it doesn't bother you guys, because I do think that those equivalencies definitely are worth mentioning. So, after we got those three out of the way, the next one is called Ghost. Seems to be almost like a Cap 40 in nature, just judging by the barrel design and things like that. Probably will be a single shot if I were to guess, though. Then the one at the very bottom is a revolver called a Sheriff. Not quite sure exactly how good this revolver will be. Hopefully a little bit better than the CSGO revolver, because no one uses that, but it is for 800 credits, or I'm just going to use credits as the arbitrary word because we don't really know what the currency is, but we'll say credits or coins or whatever you want to call it. So for 800 of the currency, 800 points, you could buy the revolver. So definitely a big difference, you know, same way any normal in-game economy sort of thing would work. You know, definitely having, you know, the default being not as good and the one at the very bottom, the most expensive one, being better. Next up, we got the SMGs. You guys can see over on screen. The first one is the Stinger, looking a lot like the UMP-45, which has been around in plenty of other shooting games. Pretty standard, if I were to guess. You know, probably a medium fire rate. Pretty standard. Probably your go-to SMG when you don't really have a lot of money. Right below that, we have the Spectre, which looks like a plethora of weapons from multiple video games. I can't really think of any of them now, but it looks like a plethora of weapons, man. You know, I would say probably that this is just a slightly better SMG. You know, of course, there will probably be more things added as time goes on. Again, this is the current, you know, sort of buy menu here. There definitely will be hopefully more weapons added in the near future, and I think they're planning on that. You know, probably at least, you know, 5 per category. I just think a little bit more dynamic and engaging, but I'm sure that'll happen sometime in the near future. I'm really not stressing about that. You know, this is definitely just sort of a more preliminary look. But after the SMGs here, of course, we have the shotguns. This one, the one for 900 here is called Bucky. And then one for 1500 is called Judge. Bucky looks more like a single shot, if I were to guess, like sort of a Remington kind of thing. And the one below the Judge looks more like it's a type of a spam weapon. As you guys can see, it does have that sort of drum magazine, which is a signature of spammy shotguns. So I don't know exactly how we'll all feel about that. I would guess they likely won't be that good, considering the community would have an absolute meltdown if they were overpowered. So I wouldn't really worry about shotguns. I don't think they'll be that big of a fixture in this game. I really think it's the SMGs and the rifles where everybody's really focused. So moving on to the rifles, you know, the biggest category we have here. At the top, we have the Bulldog, which looks a lot like a TAR-21 type of weapon, something you would see in like a Call of Duty or something like that. Probably going to be, again, a medium fire rate, decent range. Seems like something has some decent range. You know, just sort of normal assault rifle. Below that, we have a Guardium, which looks almost more like a marksman type of rifle, sort of like a DMR kind of that kind of genre seems to be what we're working with here for the Guardian. So again, it's a little bit more expensive. I'd guess it shoots a lot slower. It's probably better at even longer ranges. That's kind of the vibes I'm getting from that. Right below it here, we have the Phantom, which looks sort of like a Scar H. Definitely, probably just a slower firing, high damage assault rifle. Then the one at the very bottom looks kind of well-rounded, like an AK-12 or something like that from Call of Duty Ghosts. It's kind of what it's reminding me of. The Vandal at the bottom, we don't know how much it's going to cost because, during the time of this screenshot, it was already owned in the person's inventory, but we'll just have to wait and see on that. For the snipers here on the right, of course, going over the snipers, we have the Marshall for 1,010, which is remarkably cheap in comparison to every other weapon here on this list. We'll just have to see the way that pans out. If I were to have an intuition, a little bit of a hunch, I would say the Marshall is a lot more like the SSG-08 from Counter-Strike, which, by the way, is not a very good weapon by any means. Very, very rage-inducing to use. So I would imagine that the Marshall is sort of along those lines, while the operator below it for 4,500 seems, at least in my eyes, to be screaming op, op, op. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting here. So that's definitely something worth taking a look at. I'm curious to see how that sniper balance works on day one, even how quickscoping works in this game and stuff, because we've seen nothing about snipers in this game so far. From the very limited bits of leaks we've gotten, all we have seen, all that we can notice really, are SMGs. We even saw some assault rifles, even a minigun, but nothing sniper related. Nothing related to snipers at all, which is quite odd, to say the least. So I'm very curious to see the way the operator and the Marshall work generally in relation to the rest of the in-game balance. Right below that, and for the final bit of this list we know today, and again, this is probably subject to change, as I said. I'm sure that this is not going to be the only thing, the only set of weapons that we have available in this game, but this, from what I could tell, is all that was available in the sort of base build that this was taken from. So definitely interesting to look at. So the last two here, we have the Heavy for 1,700 here. We have the Ares and the Odin for 3,200. Both look somewhat of the same nature. I would say the Ares being a little cheaper and a little smaller probably is more running gun-like, while the Odin's probably more like the Negev, the slow, spammy, but highly effective weapon. And funny enough, I find it funny that they named it Ares, because that was the original name, of course, for Project A or Valorant, was Project Ares that everybody went by. And I found it kind of funny, really, when you think about it, man, as you were going, you're looking around on Twitter and stuff, and everybody was swearing that it was Project A. You had websites made and Twitter ads and graphics and this and that and this and that. And sure enough, they just kind of randomly wake up one day, and say, hey, it's actually something called Valorant. And everybody's kind of like, the hell, what is this? So everybody had to go and adapt. We adapted as well. We had to change our name multiple times until we finally settled on Your Valorant. But man, it's interesting out here, man. I'm really excited for this game all around. I haven't really been able to speak candid with you all on the channel yet. So much news and so much stuff to cover, but I really am excited for this game, man. We think it's gonna be a wonderful opportunity for so many people out here. I really do advise you guys to get involved, to make a channel, make a brand, do something with this game while you can before it gets oversaturated, man. You got some time. The game's not gonna release yet. They definitely, I don't imagine, would release it this soon, so we do have some time, I hope, and I really do think it's a good time for you guys, if you're watching this video, to get involved, join the community. If you guys want to connect with us, definitely check all of our links down below in the description. We have a link to our Twitter, to our Instagram, to our Discord, where we post a ridiculous amount. We keep you guys all updated on Discord. We have voice channels where we all kind of hang out. We have a bunch of chats. You guys can promote yourself, network with people. There's just a ton of opportunities going on constantly, even not in relation to us, but if you guys want to make your own Twitter, man, use some hashtags, bro. You'll get the exposure. You'll get post, views and stuff. You'll get engagements. And that's just what happens when a game is new. You know what I mean? That's kind of part of the thrill. You know what I mean? The overall chase, the quest to conquer a new game, both competitively, both content-wise, player-wise. There's really so much to be found in Conquered, and I think that's why so many people are really gravitating towards Valorant, because there's just so much going on. It's such a widely revered, such a highly rated game that hasn't even released yet. The game hasn't even released yet. We don't even know anything yet. Tomorrow we hopefully will know a little bit more, but we still really don't know much about this game yet. And it's like, man, we already have such a highly developed community, tons of people talking to each other, on a daily basis, man, that I've been connecting with and speaking to. I know a lot of you guys have been engaging with us on Twitter and things like that. And it's like, wow, man, there is such a community built already for a game that hasn't even released and hasn't even really shown much inkling about what it's going to be. So tons of just love to all you guys, man. I really do appreciate that over on our channel. Again, it's wonderful to see this community growing as fast as it has. So with that being said, guys, thank you all so much for watching. I think I have rambled on a lot long enough than I need to be. So hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Again, drop a like if you guys have not already. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new for more daily Valorant videos, and I will catch you all on the next one. Peace.